Today's lesson, we're going to be doing some traditional Pysanky, or you could call them, sometimes people call them Ukrainian eggs. And these egg designs have been created from people throughout history for thousands of years. And the Ukrainian eggs date back even before Christianity, which is the birth of Christ. So this is a very old traditional craft. And they created these eggs originally as part of spring festivals and spring celebrations. In Ukraine, and also they're in neighboring countries like Russia, they would create these eggs during the winter time. And in that region of the world, it's very cold and the winters are very long. And if you think about it, thousands of years ago, they didn't have electricity and they didn't have modern technology and they didn't have modern medicines. And to survive the winters was a great celebration. And so when they saw signs of spring come, they would get ready and have all kinds of parties and celebrations and communities coming together and helping each other. Eggs had special meaning to them because inside the egg was new life and hope inside the egg. To make the traditional egg crafts, they would use either ostrich eggs or they would use chicken eggs or duck eggs. Most of the time it was a duck or chicken egg, whatever they had in their farm. And Pysanky means to write. And they would write or draw the designs on with the wax. It wasn't painted with a paintbrush, but drawn with what's called a kiska. And so let me show you what a kiska looks like. This is the traditional kiska tool. Here's some traditional patterns that might be found on Ukrainian eggs. A lot of it has to do with new life, plant growth. This is like vines, flowers. Here's your grapevines. Things that meant a lot to them. The wheat, because the wheat is like a symbol of life because they made a lot of food from the wheat. For today's lesson, we're going to adapt the Ukrainian egg design, and we're going to be using oil pastels. And if you don't have oil pastels, you can always use regular crayons if you're at home. And you can just push really hard with the regular crayons for the design. For the first step, we want to divide the paper into fourths. So we're going to take the shortest end, bring it up to the top of our page, and fold the paper here. Just crease it. Then we're going to take the shortest end again, which is going to be this side, and fold it back over on top of the shortest line here, the shortest side. So we have the paper now has 2 creases, and when we open it up, we will have 4 equal rectangles. And then we'll have the exact center of our paper. If you want to take and put a mark just in the very center, just a tiny dot. And I'm going right to oil pastel, or you can go right to crayon. The next guideline is we want this to be just a really large egg shape. So we want to come to the edges here, and we're going to find the very middle of the page, the fold that's in the very center, right here. And we're going to go to the edges, and we're going to jump in probably about 1 inch. So if you estimate 1 inch in from the side, if you put your finger down, you'll see there's space before and after the finger. I'm going to do the same on this side. Give a little space here, and then I'm going to mark a line. So we have plenty of room. That's approximately 1 inch. Now I'm going to set my guidelines for the egg. I'm going to go to the top of the page. Notice I've pushed my paper down so you can see. This is the top of the page. I'm going to jump down approximately an inch as well. And this is okay if it's a little bit more or less. And I'm on the center fold here. Here's our fold line. That's why we folded our paper. I'm going to slide my page now to the very bottom of the page. And I'm going to go up approximately an inch as well. And I'm going to draw a horizontal line here. So now I have a horizontal line right on the center fold. And then I have two vertical lines on the center fold this way. Now we're going to draw the egg oval. Connect the lines together to form a giant oval shape for an egg. So I'm going to imagine it first come up and over. I want this to be curved, and then I come down. If you want to do it lightly first, you can, and then press a little bit harder. So I'm going to come down. I imagine it first. I'm going to come over and down. And then I'm going to come back and push a little bit harder. So I have a nice curve to form part of my oval. Now I'm going to come down here. I want it to come over a little bit more here. And then I come up. I'm going to repeat. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm coming over and slowly up to meet. Now I'm going to push a little bit harder here. Now, if you get little crumbs, if you see from the oil pastel, I just kind of push them aside like this. You don't want to rub them because you'll smear it. Oil pastels are a little bit softer than a crayon, and they leave a little waxy surface to the paper. So when we do our resist, we'll paint black paint over this, similar to a traditional Pysanky egg, and the black will fill in all the spaces that we did not apply the color to. So now I'm going to divide my sections, and I'm going to choose a lighter value to divide my sections with. So I'm looking in my oil pastels, and I'm looking for a lighter value because the last color we're going to apply is going to be a layer of paint to this. And it's going to be a black paint. So I want those things to show up that I put in, my colors nice and bright. So I'm going to choose a bright orange, and you can pick any light color. And I'm tracing the fold line. And I'm pushing pretty hard, right, like so. Now we're going to be making a radial design, and we're going to be doing some traditional patterns, and of course you can adjust this and add your own patterns and your own designs to this, but I'm going to start with one of these kind of flower shape designs here, and you can do yours squared off, or you can have it pointed if you'd like, or even do it rounded in the very middle. If you would like to download this worksheet, you can click on the title of the video and it will take you to a link on my Patreon account where you can download this worksheet. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want my center design. So I can come out now, and I'm just going to draw on the center design. I'm just going to come out and around. I'm going to add a curve out and around and come right back. So I'm choosing to do just a very simplified floral design in the very middle. Up and back. Up and back. So I come down, down, and around. So there's my floral design. And traditional Pysanky, when you make traditional Pysanky or Ukrainian eggs, the artist would use a kiska, which is right here. And the kiska is made from a wooden stick with a little funnel added, made out of copper. And the artist would put the wax inside the funnel. And they would heat it up over a candle. And then the wax would come out here. And then they would apply the wax to their design or to the egg using this tool, the kiska. And wherever they put the wax, the natural color of the egg would remain. So if you want to do some natural colors of your egg, you can take your white oil pastel, and you might not be able to see it right now, but once you add your black paint to this, the white will show. So I'm just pushing really hard and tracing my edges of the flower with some white. And this will end up remaining once I add my black paint to it. So let me show you here. You can see it a little bit if I turn it to the side here. So now if you want to add some white, this is the time that you can add some white design to it. And I'm just taking my white and doing kind of a scallop pattern around the edge, but you can do patterns wherever you want to add white to it. And you're going to fill in now using different types of line patterns. You can add, here's rows of lines, so you can do traditional stripes across. I'm just adding a few more bright colors to the design. And traditional Pysanky would have several layers of different colors. So I'm putting in a lot of line pattern and line designs, because it was applied with the kiska, so skinny layers and skinny lines using the kiska. And then I'll do some just tracing lines around my leaves. Here's the completed design, and now I'm ready for the paint. Now, if I were to be making my traditional Ukrainian egg, the last color that I would dip my egg into would be black. And wherever I did not apply the wax to the egg would turn black. The black would soak in, just like we're going to do now. Wherever we did not put the oil pastel, or if you used crayon, wherever you did not put the crayon, the paper will remain black. So for this, I'm going to be using a nice soft watercolor brush, and I'm dipping my brush into the water, and then I'm gently swirling it into the black. And I want it kind of a watery consistency, but I want enough color on to show up, because this will end up drying a little bit lighter. I'm actually going to apply a little bit more paint here. And you notice when you place your strokes on top of the oil pastel, the paint is actually popping off. Let me blow that up for you. So you want a deeper consistency, but you also want it to resist the actual oil pastel. And you can see as I do my brush strokes, it's popping right off the oil pastel. If you find that your paint is not popping off, then just add a little bit more water, and that will help it. And then you want to not repeat the area that you've already done. So you don't want to go back and forth over an area that's already painted, because what that might do is scratch up the surface and it won't resist as well. And you don't want that to happen. So I dip in every time I go back into my paint, and I'm just doing long strokes that overlap each other. And you can see where I had the white. Wherever the oil pastel is, the paint will not stick. It'll bead up. And a characteristic of oil pastel resist is all these little beads of paint here. And you just want to just leave that. When you apply the paint, you want to make sure that you get all of the area that has not been colored with oil pastel. So I'm really careful to make sure I get all the paper. And you can see how my white is resisting. It pops right off. And characteristic of oil pastel resist, or crayon resist, is all the little tiny dots that speckle the colors. And this is the actual resist, where the paint is resisting and not sticking to the oil. I hope you enjoyed creating your Pysanky egg, and if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And I want to thank all of my patrons who support the channel. If you would like to join my Patreon account, go ahead and click on the title of the video, and it will take you to the link to join. Again, thank you for viewing, and have a great day.